Well, welcome to the Shains. Welcome to our Family Pro Huddle. We're so glad you guys are here. This is Travis and Debbie.
Yes,
we're so glad they're here. So today we're going to talk about your guys' books, I should say. Two books.
Yeah.
Take the lead and let him lead.
I'll let Travis hold the pink one.
I'm used to it.
So, you guys have been great friends of ours, and so we're super glad you guys are the first host or first guests we're having on the podcast. We'd love to have you guys share some of your wisdom around marriage, because you guys have a beautiful marriage, you have a fun marriage.
Yeah, we do.
Kind of marriage we like.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
So, you guys want to introduce yourselves to everybody?
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
Yeah.
Start us off.
Hi everybody, I'm Debbie.
Yeah, she is.
Travis, my husband.
I'm Travis. I wrote the pink book.
That's right.
You told them how to submit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we taught the wives how to submit.
Yeah.
We were going to give that little intro, but we decided it would be a bad idea.
The submission word?
Yeah, the submission.
Okay,
The submission
I
word
guess we're not.
is
That's a good topic.
the submission word is such a trigger for everybody.
Oh
like
my
I feel
God.
like every woman I talk to, if I say submission, they're like,
Yeah.
everything goes wild in their head.
Yeah.
I think people actually fight when they look at the covers,
Yeah.
like, let him lead.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
yeah, that's actually
Yeah,
real.
that
We
itself
tell a
is
lot of
for me.
couples. Yeah,
Wow.
Are you serious?
yeah.
Yeah. So they want responsibility.
Yeah,
That's part of that.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of women, submission means control.
Yes.
That's not actually what it means. It's actually freedom, and I think that's part of the reason why we wrote the books in the first place.
Yeah.
'Cause we wanted people to understand that by understanding what it means to submit as a wife and what it means to allow your husband to lead, like what that can lead to in your marriage. Because most
Yeah.
of the things that we think people struggle with in their marriages is they're all symptoms of just that kind of foundational element being out of place.
Yeah. Exactly. It's so smart and so brilliant and biblical.
Yeah.
Like this is how God designed
Yeah,
a marriage to
totally.
be.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And physically built each of us
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
We found such freedom, and I've found such freedom in submitting to you and being able to do that and not having to carry the weight of everything.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what submission, I think, what people think it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what it actually is.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Because sometimes I think people think it's like, oh, you have to wear a burqa and you have to
Oh
walk
my
behind
gosh.
your man and
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to stay
Totally.
So
silent.
silly.
Here,
I
hold
know.
my pocket.
They make all the
Exactly.
decisions, and you have no say.
You have no voice, no
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
those viral Instagram videos like set the stage perfect for that, right? It's like
Totally.
the wife makes a joke in front of her dad, and the husband's sitting on the couch, and she brings this plate, and she gets on her knees and serves him like this. That's why I always make a joke. Like that's what people think submission
Yeah.
looks like, but it's really
Feeding
not.
your
like-
husband grapes.
Yeah. You're submitting to the mission, your husband's
Yes.
mission for the family, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a mission, which we always talk about this too, because sometimes I will lose sight of the mission. I think we all do.
Yes,
Yeah.
But it's important to kind of get back in alignment and go, okay, this is the actual mission for our family.
Yeah.
And then you can submit to that mission.
Yeah.
So it's not a submission physically, but it's a
Yeah.
emotional and
Yeah.
just kind of being in the right alignment.
Yeah.
Well, I think you pointed out the guy's part too. 'Cause
Yeah.
if there's no mission for her to submit to, she's
Right.
going to make her own.
Right.
She's going
Absolutely.
to create her own mission.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to
100%.
have a mission for
That's
this
right.
family. If
That's
you're not
right.
going to do it as a guy.
Yeah. Well, that's
Guess
why I
what?
tell a lot of couples,
Yeah.
like, if women are adaptable, like, we're chameleons.
Right.
We'll fill in the holes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if there's a gap, we're going to fill
Yeah,
it.
figure it out.
Yeah.
We'd much rather you do it.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Totally.
But if there's gaps, we'll fill them, and then it becomes a challenge to correct it.
Yes.
So, okay, so let's, before we go to there, what does a real healthy submission actually look like?
Yeah, no, that's great. I think for me and Debbie had this great conversation one time, and she said, because before, the whole reason this came up, there's a couple of different reasons, but learning how to be the man in the relationship, the husband in
Yeah.
the marriage
Yeah.
is important, but what does that really look
Right.
like? Does
Yeah.
it mean like we have to be in charge, we have to have the last word, we have to be the disciplinary and all those kinds of things? Not necessarily. I mean, there's a point of that. Yes, we're
Yeah.
here. We should be providing for our wives, for our family. We should be doing
Right.
those things.
Yeah.
However, there are some things that we might negate, right? Like maybe we don't like being in control of our finances. Maybe we don't like doing the yard work, so we hire somebody for it. Maybe we don't like being a disciplinarian, whatever it is. Like it doesn't come naturally to us as a personality.
Yeah.
And your wife could very much step in,
Yes.
like you said,
Yeah,
and fill
strengths
that
and
gap.
weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's really like understanding where each other's strengths and weaknesses are,
Right.
and then having
Yeah.
healthy conversations. So
Right.
Debbie at one point would be like, I had to step in because you were not fulfilling these areas. But what we actually realized is she didn't need to step in. We needed to have a conversation, and then
Right.
she needed to trust that God would do the work in me
Right.
to make me stronger in those areas, so she didn't have to any longer, because
Right.
that would just put us out of order.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
what happens with a lot of couples is that, so like the husband will be really good at certain things and not other things, so the wife will just step in and do those things, but then over time, it's like I would start to build resentment towards him because I was doing something that I actually thought he should be doing,
Yes.
but he just never did it, but I never really gave him a chance
You
to
never
do
had a
it.
conversation about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so allowing, like having conversation, but then also having to release that and trust
Yeah.
that he will step in, and it might not
Yes.
look how I want it or what I was doing,
Yeah.
but be okay with that.
Yeah.
You have
Totally.
to create, there has to be a space for it, otherwise they'll never be able to fill that space.
Yeah, so I think there's we talked about this a couple episodes ago when we talked about a vision and mission for your family.
Yeah.
And if you can determine that from the get-go,
Yes.
then it's really clear, I know what to submit to. And even if he's like, hey, can you manage the finances? Or I run the schedule.
Yes.
I run
Yeah.
the schedule. So, okay, I run the family schedule, but I'm not doing it by myself. If I do it
Right.
by myself, then I'm going to go a little loopy.
Yeah.
Totally.
But I'm doing it, I'm executing
Yeah.
the vision he has for it.
Right.
Right,
But
and
it's
I think-
anchored to the same mission that you both have.
Absolutely.
That we
Yeah.
talked about and agreed upon.
Yes.
Because we have a joint mission, so it's I always say this to people, so I have to tell them, that's not my department. That's my
Yeah.
wife's department.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't do
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
Don't ask
Delegated
me.
that
I was
department.
like, hey, I don't do
100%.
that department. That's
Yeah.
my wife. So
Yeah.
you want to get on my schedule and you actually want me to be there? Probably text my wife.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm going to, 5 minutes later, someone's going to ask me, I'll probably double book myself.
But I go under the guidance of you want a certain number of nights
Yes.
off, you want
Exactly.
Yeah.
only so many people at the house at a time, or whatever it is. We still have conversation, and then I'm like, okay, I'll go do.
Yes.
I can execute that.
Yeah, it's smart to do that too, because I'm very social. So what feeds me is being around people all the
Yeah.
time, and what feeds her is having those silent moments
Yeah.
where we put the kids to bed and then we could just chill out together. and
This is
have
why
our
we get along
conversations.
so well. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're the same.
Yeah.
So it's good. You have those conversations. You figure out, hey, where are we at, and then you try your hardest. It's so hard to honor that sometimes, but you try your hardest to actually honor that and
Yeah.
go, okay, we can sit back and watch a
Yeah.
Hallmark movie or whatever. I can sit here and complain about you watching a Hallmark movie. But
Horror movies?
Yeah.
Oh, Debbie!
I'll
I
watch
know.
it. But I think what's good about that is admitting there's the gap. That's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
hardest thing,
Totally.
from the sports world of, it's if we're not going to talk about what we're doing wrong, we're
Right.
never going to get better.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
100%.
We're never going to talk about the fact we can't do this.
Yeah.
Are we just going to
Absolutely.
abandon this, or is this a
Right.
part of
Yeah.
our office?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Right?
exactly right.
It's so
Yeah.
is this a part of our family, our vision?
Yeah.
Are we going to fix this, or are we just
Yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
rid of it?
That's
And-
exactly right.
And the
Well, if the
seasonality is a
receiver
big part,
decides to
yeah.
step in to be the quarterback because the quarterback's abandoned his post,
Yeah, that's
Right.
not going to work out.
we're not going to win.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Well, and I think a lot of
Exactly.
people get comfortable with just accepting this is just how it is, or
Yes.
this is how my parents were, this is how I was raised, or this is just what it's
Yeah.
like. And that's the part where we were like, wait, hold on, that's actually not God's design, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a vision, this is a new family, so that's our family of origin, but the family that we've built is our family.
Right.
And so the vision,
Yes.
the mission, it all has to look different. And it's okay if you take things that you were raised with that were fruitful, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you don't have to take all of it just because, and you also don't have to accept the bad parts just because. That's
Right.
all you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
think that was a big thing that we always, it's brought up a lot.
Yeah.
So you talked about some gaps that she had filled.
Yeah.
How did you guys bridge that? Because you said have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, I was talking to someone the other day who was like, well, I keep telling him, well, you can't nag a man into leadership.
Yeah.
It's not gonna
You can try.
Yeah.
So
Your
really-
face off.
I say, I think all guys have that miracle ear.
Then they could shut
Just
off.
turn it off.
Yeah.
It's y'all think it turns on? It turns off too. I can turn it off just as easily.
Totally. No, that's so true.
Yeah, well, I think it came from a place of me stepping in to do things he wasn't doing, but never giving him a chance to do them. And in the beginning, it starts out innocent, he's carrying all these things. I'll just carry these things,
Yeah.
even though I didn't want to. But it's like a partnership, right? So in your head, it's innocent. But then over years, then it becomes something that I would start to resent him because he wasn't doing it, and I didn't want to anymore because it's exhausting.
Yes.
And so then that was the point that I had to sit down and be like, listen, all these things, but that's also not fair, because then we went years of all these things over all this time. You're not doing this. But he's like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
You always do it. You never said it bothered you. So
Yeah,
I think healthy conversation all the time is vital,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then it comes
Yeah.
up in the moment instead of building for years. Because what happens is then we start to operate as a reflection of a wife that isn't actually our best either. Because then we get kind of our hearts are a little hardened and we're like, then maybe
Yeah.
you hold out on them and you're mean to them or you chop them down
Yeah.
and condemn them, but you're not. It's not always on purpose.
When
It's
you
just
said hold out, did you mean hold out sexually?
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of wives
I just
do.
wanted to make sure.
A lot of wives
Say
do.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
This is
That happens.
You do. You withhold, and then you
Yeah.
start to manipulate, and it becomes this like control fest. When it really
Yeah.
just started out of, hey, I want you to do this, and I'm doing it. Can you just help me out?
Yeah.
Can we talk
Right.
about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
it-
and I think
it
there's
just
some women
goes-
that like get to that point where they're like find themselves nagging and
yeah,
I won't say the B word, but you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Complaining all the time and always feeling overwhelmed and
Yeah.
always feeling tired.
Yeah.
But it's because they've taken on a responsibility that
Yeah.
maybe
It's not
they're
theirs.
not built to carry.
right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly.
And
Totally.
and their husband's like, well, I would do this if you would let me. But
Yeah.
then they're bitter.
Yes.
And you both find
Then
yourself in
you
that
just-
spot.
Yes.
And just the realization of you've taken on more than you're meant to carry.
Yeah.
Totally.
You've abdicated what you were meant to carry.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you actually got to like realize it
It's-
first and then
uh-huh.
sit down and have the conversation.
Yeah.
How do we switch it?
And then
Totally.
it's real work. I think people
Yes.
like identifying it is a huge part of
Yeah.
the problem, but then I think people underestimate the amount of like actual work it requires to undo that.
Yeah.
Because like as the wife, you have to be fully trusting, and that's where we talk about identity in the book. Like you have to be a daughter first so that you can actually understand your identity and then
Right.
trust that God actually will work those things out in your husband instead of
Yes.
trying to fix it yourself. I think that's something that a lot of people really have a hard time with.
Yeah.
And it's actually practically very hard to walk that out when
Yeah.
you're so used to, especially like high capacity, high functioning, problem solving wives can do a lot. We can
Yes.
do a lot. You're like that, so
Right,
am I.
right.
So we can jump in and fix things and handle things and make things work. But then over time, it will grow. We'll grow weary in that because that's not
Yeah.
the design. So it's releasing and trusting God.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
totally.
Talk a little bit about like being that son. Because I
Yeah.
think that's what really helped me is the sonship.
Yeah,
Because you hinted at
100%.
that daughtership.
Yeah.
Was
Totally.
that-
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me really was like understanding really my identity in Christ,
Yeah.
and just knowing that I'm worthy. It doesn't matter how we were raised, how we grew up. Like there's a point where you have to make a decision, and you go, okay, I am a son, but I'm actually going to start acting like a son
Right.
now. Because again, it doesn't just happen automatically. It takes a little bit of work, right? So you're like, you have to constantly be training your mind, training your brain, right? It's like an O lineman. Like
Yeah.
if you're always taking a false step, you're always losing ground. And you used to say in football, lose ground to gain ground.
Yes.
Not if the dude across from you is way faster. You got to
Right.
gain ground quick.
Right now.
Right. So if your wife, like our wives are strong,
Yeah.
they're going to step into that place, and we're going to very quickly fall out of order.
Yeah.
So for me, when I learned my identity and I learned that, hey, you're worthy, even if, that month we don't make as much money, even if, there's some stuff that we weren't able to take care of, we can have healthy conversations, and my identity didn't change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many zeros are at the end of the one in front of my
Yeah.
bank account or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't get those jobs, if I miss this client, I miss that sale, something's going on in my personal life, I still need to be in that place. So
Right.
Yeah.
my worthiness doesn't depend on anything else. So once I kind of had that realization, I was like, okay, this is cool.
Well, then you don't feel attacked every time.
You don't
so
feel
now
attacked
the
every time,
challenge
yeah.
becomes
Yeah,
a
yeah.
challenge to
Yeah.
the family vision and what we're
Yeah,
all trying
100%.
to accomplish
Right.
versus
100%.
an attack on you. But if
Yeah.
you don't have that
Totally.
sonship,
Totally.
it feels
Yeah.
like, oh, what now? What else are you going
Yeah,
to
it
complain
does.
about?
Yeah.
Now
If your
what else? What
identity
else
is-
did I not do?
Yeah,
Yes.
if your identity, you don't have the sonship, you're constantly thinking like, oh, I'm a failure as a husband. I didn't complete this. I didn't
Yeah.
complete that.
Yeah,
but
like
it's like,
there's a false-
no, it's actually okay. So let's have a conversation so we can get past on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God forgives us for everything. Immediately, all we
Yeah.
gotta do is
Yeah.
ask. So it's like, oh, okay, oh wow, I sinned against you. Like we've even talking to different relationships and different couples and different places. Like you have these big issues, but all you have to do is repent. Which repent is not just like, oh, I asked for forgiveness. No, you have to turn and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole different, right?
Yeah,
There's,
yeah.
again,
Walk
you
it
want the word,
out.
yeah, walk it out. So we're all walking out something. God
Yeah.
doesn't look at this sin any greater than that sin. So it's like, just put it together, wash it up. God cleans the window, and then you
Yeah.
can move on with your life.
Yeah.
And people like you have to, and us have to model it because
Yeah.
if you look at TV, every dad's an idiot.
Oh, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Nobody carries
It
any
drives me
real
nuts.
weight. There's nothing. There's no. Where's the fathers of the 70s
No.
and 80s that were on TV?
Yeah, 100%, they're all
There's
gone.
nobody.
All the
nobody
dads
has
are
a-
dummies,
They all,
yeah.
they all have good
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah.
They let the kids
Yeah.
run them. They're the
100%.
butt of every joke.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
I think a lot of these people were raised with that in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, a guy's allowed to have a voice. What,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
Well, and this
Totally.
boss babe culture that
Oh,
we
man.
have is
Yeah.
so toxic. Like
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
is. And you can be a boss babe, but that doesn't mean you're a controlling.
The
like,
definition
Yeah.
of that is the
like-
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Literally, yeah.
100%.
Because you can, like, women can do a lot of things. It's not like an attack
Yeah.
on you're less than. It's just
Not
we
at
have
all.
different, we're designed to carry different things.
Yes.
And God built us to work together in harmony to create a beautiful family,
Right.
right? And not one is no more important than the other. Like you have to have both to
Right.
complete the family. And I
Right.
think that's the element that the world doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
It's
think it's
greater
funny.
than less than, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's funny you said the boss babe thing. I was just one of the guys I mentor with is an Olympic level track coach, and we're talking about the fact that Gail Devers, if you don't know her, look her up. She's one of the few women that broke the 11 seconds 100. Okay,
Yeah.
11 seconds, Olympic champion, world class athlete, boss babe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
If she ran in San Diego high school boys, she would not get out the semifinals.
Right.
Like, does that make her any less of a
Yeah.
boss
Not at
babe?
all.
No,
Right.
like, you're
Not at
still
all.
a world champion,
Yeah. Right.
Hall of Fame track
Absolutely.
athlete
Right.
when you run with women.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
When you come run with men, it's not the
We're
same.
both different.
No.
Yeah.
So why would
Totally
you? Why are
different.
you upset that you can't run in the men's race?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
not supposed to be in this lane with me. You're
Right.
supposed
No.
to be running your race.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You be the Hall
Yes.
of Fame. I'll run over here. We'll
Yeah.
both get to the podium.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Like,
right.
Until we understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So that's why I'm glad.
And the work along the way is the same. That's
Yes.
the thing, dude. I used to work at a 24-hour fitness, and Al Joyner and
Yeah,
Jackie
yeah.
Joyner were members before.
Yeah.
Which one of them passed away? Jackie
Jackie,
Joyner.
yeah.
So Al used to always talk about training. He trained with his sister a lot,
Yep.
and he would just talk about how it was the same training. They did the same things dialed in, even though she wasn't as fast or as strong or whatever. They did the exact same move.
Right.
Everything was
Right.
the same. It's
Yeah.
literally like we just can't carry the same load at the end
Exactly.
of the day.
Yeah.
You're doing all the same work.
Right. Well, and that's why we talk about community a lot too in here, because one of the biggest things that I think is such a miss in people is that you have to have the right people, like male and female, in your world, because it's like life can get hard and it's heavy,
Yeah.
and especially for the men, I think this is like vitally important, because we can
Yeah.
come to our husbands and throw up all of our emotions on them, and they can carry it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when that happens and it's inverted,
Yeah.
when we are supposed to feel covered and safe and secure by our husbands, but then now
Yeah.
we know that they're in a place where they're hurting and broken, then we kind of lose a little bit of our foundation.
Yeah,
and it's okay
absolutely.
to do that, but then they need to be able to go to other men
Yeah.
with like godly
To
men
gain strength.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
gain strength
100%.
and to be able to
100%.
process and get wisdom, and then have them pick them back up so they can
Right.
come back home for their families and be what God called them to be.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the toxicity comes there, because
Totally.
husbands can have vulnerable moments, but
Yeah.
when you dump it on your wife and you don't go anywhere else with it, now we're left to carry something that ultimately we weren't really designed to
Totally.
carry.
No.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Because I want to know when he's going through things, but then I
Yes.
also can't be the only solution.
Right,
yeah,
100%.
Like he needs
Totally.
guys,
Yes.
because you guys talk a different language
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
Like you guys can
Yeah.
support each other. I mean, you two especially.
Yeah. I know.
But you guys can speak into each other into things that I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Same as why we need friends too. Like girls are naturally like we need friends. We all know that. Guys
Yeah.
are like
Yeah,
I'll
totally.
handle it. But
Yeah.
but I think that's why like our community at our church, which is how we know each other,
Yeah.
like is so healthy, because you guys are encouraged to get together and encouraged to
Yeah.
build community,
Yeah,
encouraged
totally.
to lean on each other
Totally.
and build relationships, and then you can work out those things and call each other higher.
Yeah.
Because I think
absolutely.
it's the cave mentality, right? It's like
Yeah, it is.
we always talked about the cave of Adullam. People forget there was 300 dudes in everything.
Right.
Yeah.
He was in that cave by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
he was down there
Exactly.
training, getting
Yeah.
better, throwing
Right.
left, throwing right,
Yeah.
learning how to fight. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
they didn't go to that cave and just separate into separate areas
That's
and
right.
sit there and look at the wall.
100%.
They got better.
They got
and it
better.
came out different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what those cave experience, I think, is what
Well,
guys
you have
are
to be
missing.
careful of who
Yeah.
you actually put in your community.
you're in the
because
neighborhood with.
because I've seen couples, like I'll just speak to wives. I've seen wives like totally change who they are because they got around a group of girls that were constantly complaining about
Yeah.
their husbands and
Yes.
constantly
Absolutely.
Yes.
attacking and constantly just negative, and then you just start down that path.
Yeah.
You become it.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
who you surround yourself with. So it's so important. Like this is why we value our friendship so much.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we need other friends that can call us higher and keep
Right.
pushing us
Yes.
to be better
100%.
instead
The
of
real
like
stuff.
dragging us down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm very careful who I process stuff with.
Yeah.
It's so easy, for dudes, like the hardest thing for us to do is get into a receiving posture,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So who am I going to allow to feed into me is
Right.
very, very important. I don't want to have anybody, like, I'm not going to go to a divorced dude for marriage advice.
Right.
I'm not going to go to somebody who has not naughty kids, the way they
Yeah.
act or whatever
Kids.
for kid advice,
Parenting advice.
parenting
Right.
advice. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
not going to do that. So
Yeah.
it is really, really important.
But-
Communication, community, it's huge.
And it's funny because us
Huge.
guys, I know the girls get a little, we compartmentalize dudes. Because how many
Yeah,
of us
yeah,
are
yeah.
like, how can you hang out with that guy?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
guy's a this, that, and the third. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even look at that part of his life. I've totally removed that. It's like, but he can still.
You have friends that are like, this friend does this.
Yeah, I have
this friend I go to about this.
Yeah, this
Absolutely.
guy, and I don't ever look to one person to figure it all out. So this is my family guy.
That's Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Only Jesus is the one person.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we had so much fun recording with the Shains, so much, in fact, that we are going to come back for a part 2 and continue our discussion about submission in marriage with Travis and Debbie Shain. Come back next week, and in the meanwhile, give us a like and a subscribe. Let us know any feedback or questions you've got for us, and come see us at The Family Pros on Instagram and TikTok. We're so excited for your family and for the conversation to continue. And we're praying for your family to have a blessed week.